In 1978, Nick Rhodes and I were founder members of Duran. After I left, we met once in 1983, when I was singing Kiss Me With Your Mouth at the Danceteria in New York. 17 years later, a chance meeting at a Vivienne Westwood event led us to return to our art school roots and also to create new music inspired by the spirit that made us want to write and play in the first place.
Without a doubt, the album that Stephen and I have made, As the Devils, to save any confusion, would have pretty much been the first Duran album. There's no doubt about that. This was the sort of sound we had, and those are the songs. So if anyone's curious, yes, this is what we used to sound like, but we don't have as much clarinet on this. But when we first met, we actually got together very quickly and got to perform and write. It seemed so easy in 1978 to actually make the transition from wanting to be in a band to being in a band, because we just lived through the whole punk times. It was still very much around then in Birmingham in 78. And it was the first time for us, I think, that we'd seen other artists on stage that were only our age and only knew three chords too. And so it seemed possible to be up there. I remember watching a few of the punk bands and thinking, okay, I know D and A and F.
But that was easy for you because you had stickers on your keyboard.
That's right. But that was at the time when I was still thinking I might play guitar. And John, in fact, played guitar in the original lineup. Stephen played bass and sung. And Simon Colley, our chef, played bass guitar and also clarinet. And I played synthesizers and fiddled with tape recorders and rhythm units. So it was quite a bizarre sound we made, actually. Around punk times, there was an awful lot of really small venues, pubs, bars, and places for new acts to play.
And it was in one of these pubs that I first saw Dada.
That's right.
With their ironing board as a keyboard stand and a certain John Taylor playing the guitar. And as I walked to art college on the first day of term, I was very surprised to see John Taylor and the drummer from TDI walking to college. And I thought that everybody...
With the ironing board, right?
They didn't have the ironing board,
right.
But they had their portfolios. And I thought that all of Birmingham's punk community was going to be coming together, but it was only them. And the drummer was already in a band. Yeah. So I said to the other guy, what are you doing now that the ironing board has been folded away? And he wasn't doing anything, so we got together.
That was the birth of Duran. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of other influences on our sound. I think we'd all heard the first Velvet Underground album quite a lot of times by then, and we wanted to do something that was quite radical, and hence the lineup. And the sound really was pretty extreme for the time. I mean, when we played our show at Birmingham Barbarella's, this was still the height of Birmingham punk times. And I remember walking on stage and thinking, oh my God, it's the punk crowd. They pogo, they spit, and occasionally they throw bottles. We're walking on, wearing women's clothes. Stephen's about to announce the first song. Well, actually, I've got to start it. It's a rhythm unit. I'm going to press that little rhythm unit, and it's going to go... So I pressed it and thought, well, we're here. We may as well do it. It was an instrumental. I don't know. Afterwards, there was polite applause, and I thought, okay, no bottles so far. This is good. And Stephen walked up to the microphone. His most fey voice said, this next song is influenced by F. Scott Fitzgerald, a writer some of you may have heard of. It's called So Cold in El Dorado. And I thought we were going to die.
Also, I think that we were trying to fight off punk's, the boring bits of punk with the lyrics. That's why we were singing about shops and, you know, anything apart from the right to work or...
Yeah.
The right to shop, we were saying.
The right to shop.
As punks, we demand the right to shop. And I had been too embarrassed to play the bass when I'd gone into the second-hand shop on Saltley Gate. And when I got home, I found that it was a fretless bass, which made everything even more sort of slippy and slidey.
It was good, though. It was good for our tuning at the time, wasn't it, Steve?
Because we didn't. And in fact, we have carried on that lack of tuning
Absolutely.
into our electro-clash work.
Have to tune or we'll really be in trouble since everything in the whole track is out of tune, aren't we? Space Monks, okay, speak out.
We were performing in a puppet theatre. What was it called? The Hexagon Theatre.
Very good.
And at this show, at the second show, we started using back projection.
Yes, in fact, it was John's or Nigel's geography field slides.
The field trip slides, which I still have, and look at every Christmas.
You know, I mean, having grown up on Bowie and Roxy music too, and seen the immense effort that went into their live shows and the whole visual aspect, it was obvious to us that things were going to move a little bit that way. Well, we wanted to move things that way. And that's why we paid so much attention to the presentation. I mean, putting the posters up for the first show was very important to us. I mean, Stephen and John, you know, diligently did them at art school.
And John would sort of diligently go down and write in half an hour on it. Performing in the lecture theatre at 6:30, only 50 pence.
But the posters took longer to make than the actual
set.
You know, the set took. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it was very important. It was stylistically it was an interesting time too, because you had all that great punk graphics, and really that was such a stylish movement. Some people forget that it came out of Malcolm and Vivian Westwood and Jamie Reed and these people that really had great vision, and obviously a lot of incredible bands. But because it had turned a little heavier with the likes of the Angelic Upstarts and Sham 69, it definitely swayed the movement more towards electronic things, and synthesizers were actually becoming more affordable for the first time. The right kind of effect on it.
Do you want to keep any of that?
No.
Of course, you know, synthesizers now are kind of quite a trad instrument. They're trad? No, but I mean, they're not regarded as a threat by real musicians.
No. Yeah.
They are when Nick plays it.
that might be worth saying something about.
Well, we could call ourselves the tragic moment.
Yeah. Tragic moment. Of which we have many.
Okay, that's...
I think I haven't looked in Gothic today, have I? The Devils, we searched actually for a name for a while, and... How about Earl of Toadstool?
Are we called the Devils because I wanted to call us the Sea?
That's probably one of the motivating reasons for me searching through books.
Ah, another goth classic.
I pretty much worked with, the members of Duran Duran, or the varying members of Duran Duran for, since I was 16 years old. And I have done some other outside projects, but not one where we really collaborated with such intensity.
Well, it was like a conversation, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And there wasn't anybody else involved. And the great thing was, after we'd finished making the album, we went on John's geography field trip together. Lost Decade was the first song that we actually wrote together, and that was written in 1978. And other originals were Aztec Moon, Hawks Do Not Share, Big Store, New Haven Dieppe.
About half the album, really.
And then
we wrote some new ones. See, we didn't have enough material that we thought was quite ready yet. Another few years we might dig out the other ones, but
so it was exciting, and we were making an exciting noise, and there was no reason to stick to the original concept anymore. Memory Palaces. Is that what the first one's called? Memory Palaces. Starts with what you hear at the beginning of the cassette that I had in my desk for all those years. So you get the sound of play and record being pressed in 1978. It's a really stupid guitar riff and a really stupid lyric, and the combination is
fabulous. That one I'm particularly proud of. I think it turned out really well because it really does retain all the elements of what we were trying to achieve in 1978. Yet we've sort of modernized it enough to make it contemporary. It's probably the most goth track on the record. When we were looking to develop our sound for this record, we did Hooks Don't Share very early on, and it sort of set the standard for what we had to do.
Dark eyes, you got new clothes.
alive in my head. It was the first thing that you said. I'm alive.
That's quite nice, actually, though.
I think it's quite simple.
That what you just sung, that's different, isn't it? That Aztec
I
melody.
think that's how it went.
Well, I prefer that. It didn't go like that.
I will climb the mountain. Everyone before me placed and I climb up to the stars and the my destination is unclear. Each day I ride around. I read magazines and books, but never buy a thing from the big store. Aztec. I will climb every mountain, everyone before me. Lost Decade we wrote together, and I find this astonishing that we wrote a song as sophisticated as Lost Decade when we were 16 and 18, and then didn't write another song together for 24 years. And Lost Decade is a short story by F. Scott Fitzgerald, but also there's a myriad of lines taken from The Great Gatsby. I think When I Came Back from the East I Found You in the Uniform is definitely one of them. When I came back from the east, I found you in uniform, standing to attention tall with no glimpse of human heart. I wanted you in my arms, but I was all you scorned, and I fell hard for you, as I felt hard for you. Take me now, show me you love me. Take me now, show me what you take me for. Lost decade, should you love me like you did before?
Let's see what the hell happens. Do you want to come through, Mr. Tin?
Yes.
Excellent.
Move the camera if you want.
My life at Barbarella's, we all shut down with Barbarella's. I'll see you down at Barbarella's. Barbarella's, Barbarella's, Barbarella's. Barbarella's.
It is the latter of the bookends. And it ends with the sound of wedding bells, reversed wedding bells, which was the sound Duran Duran left the stage to.
We were in the tradition of all the great art school bands, from the Beatles and the Stones to Roxy Music. It was exciting to be creating new music and inventing a new genre.
Circles, show me your eyes. It's black magic, no perfume, you're all too